Prepare for this like if you knew that everything that you use on a daily basis is going to go up in price tenfold or higher. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Happy Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much to all of you who joined in on yesterday's live stream that I had with Grayman from Grayman Prepping. It was a lot of fun as always. Now, for those of you that are new here, once or twice a week, depending on what's going on and what I can find, I cover a single topic in one of my videos that I talk about extensively instead of covering a lot of bits of the news that's been going on for the last several days. And this topic, in my opinion, is so important that this is the second time that I'm going to talk about it from a different aspect and or point of view. In addition to that, the second part of this video, I'm going to be answering a question in depth that one of you asked me on the comments section of one of my previous videos, and I'm hoping to show you enough that when you go out there to shop for a solar generator, you know what to look for and you know whether or not you're overpaying. Because I'll tell you what, the comparison that I'm going to be using today that the person asked me to review is one that, in my opinion, is extremely overpriced for what they're offering, and I just hope that the person who asked me about this hasn't made that purchase yet. But first, let's talk about how we have to prepare for a future where the dollar may still be the world reserve currency, but it will not have nearly the purchasing power that it does today. What does that mean to the average person out there that holds dollars and interacts in dollars? And even more importantly, that gets paid in dollars. That is, ladies and gentlemen, that you will have to do one of two things in the future. You will have to learn how to live a lower standard of living, much lower than what you're living today, and or work 2 or 3 times as hard and as much as you're working today in order to maintain the standard of living that you currently enjoy. The dollar demise, shift from US dollar-based financial world to CBDC focused system, is imminent. Now, I understand that the powers that be must know by now that this financial system under which we are governed is done. They are working feverishly to try to find something new that the people will accept. I think that we will have a CBDC eventually, but I think also that it will be short-lived, because eventually the people will be like, wait a minute, we barely had any freedoms to begin with before we shifted over to this new currency, but now we have none whatsoever. The Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944, which involved representatives from 44 nations, established a system through which a fixed currency exchange rate could be created using gold as the universal standard. It made the dollar a superpower. Why is that? Because after 1944, after World War II, most of the world's gold was here, concentrated in the United States, because it was the safest nation in the world at that time. Its 2 major accomplishments, meaning the Bretton Woods system, were the creation of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, well known as the World Bank. And I would say that maybe, I wasn't around at that time, that those 2 institutions, the IMF and the World Bank, maybe were institutions that were needed in order to bring stability to the world financial order. However, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, those institutions are not needed now. They are more of a thorn on humanity than anything else. But that's my opinion. The Department of the Treasury understands that there is constant demand for dollars overseas as a means to more easily import and export goods. The petrodollar monopoly made the US dollar essential for trading oil globally for decades, and that is the scheme that the United States and Saudi Arabia came up with in order to save the dollar after President Nixon had to take us off the gold standard or the Bretton Woods standard because countries started to realize that we did not have enough gold to back the number of greenbacks that were out in the world. Of course, the Central Bank of the United States has been able to create fiat currency, and that's what it is, from thin air to a far higher degree than any other central bank on the planet while avoiding the immediate effects of hyperinflation, he added. And why is it that we've avoided the immediate effects of hyperinflation? Is because our dollars are needed all around the world. Let's say, for example, Zimbabwe, which is a country that has hyperinflated several times. Why have they hyperinflated? Why haven't they been able to kick the can down the road as long as they have? Well, because their dollars are not as revered or as needed around the world as the dollar is. All right, so the Zimbabwe dollar is more of a local dollar that's needed within that nation to conduct trade, but not really outside of that nation. Well, not anymore for Zimbabwe, because from what I understand, Zimbabwe has become the first nation in our recent history to back their Zimbabwe dollar up by gold. Here they continue to say that as a result, the cash ended up in the coffers of foreign central banks, international banks, and investment firms. Now listen to this. Most people don't know this. As much as 60% of all U.S. currency and 25% of the national debt is owned outside of the United States of America. Now, ladies and gentlemen, can you just imagine how much currency there is out there? Really, it's fiat currency. But every one of those notes that's out there, that's outside our borders, it's going to want to buy something. And if the only country accepting those dollars is the United States of America because other countries abandon it, it's going to want to buy something from here. Now, how much is that going to make the prices of everything that we have here in the U.S. go up when all of those dollars come flooding back into our shores? And here they say that the current problem, and I have to agree with it, and I think that everyone would agree with it, is that the Fed is overprinting dollars. Eventually, the effects of overprinting come home to roost, and that's what we will be seeing here in the future. I mentioned yesterday during our live stream that inflation still has another round to go, and it's going to be worse than the last one that we experienced. So hold on, ladies and gentlemen, stock up now, because even though these prices are high prices or higher than what we've been used to for our lives, they're going to go even higher. So stock up. And it may take a brand new Bretton Woods-like system that removes the dollar as the global reserve currency and replaces it with something new from the IMF, like the SDR or special drawing rights. Special drawing rights have been around for a very long time, and it's exactly what they say here. It's like a system that takes a fiat currency from different countries and puts it in a basket, and then instead you can draw SDRs instead of any specific currency. It's just easier to trade internationally with that. Do I agree with it? Absolutely not. The SDR is just another fiat currency, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a vehicle that holds fiat currencies and gives it a value to be an SDR, if you can understand that. Lately, international banks are already expressing a shift from a dollar-based financial world to using a central bank digital currency, CBDC. Why is this? Because with a CBDC, governments and big banks will maintain or retain, the power instead of relinquishing the power back to the people and going on to a fixed system like a gold or silver or even bimetallic system, commodities based, that is. Now listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't remember any sovereign nation voting for the IMF to be in charge of their money. This will place the IMF as the middleman controlling the flow of digital currencies. Do you understand what that means? That there will be a centralized location in the world that controls how the currencies around the world interact with one another. That's very scary, ladies and gentlemen, because it takes away the sovereignty of each particular nation to do what they want with their money. That's the problem that the US dollar is having today, is that the US government has abused the power of the US dollar by controlling where those dollars can flow in and out of by either allowing or not allowing certain nations that it likes or doesn't like to participate in the SWIFT system. Thanks to BRICS, an economic wrecking ball could be swung to break the dollar hegemony, especially since the bloc has been gaining more influence and growing its size. Now, for those of you that don't know what the BRICS bloc is, it's just a whole bunch of nations that are getting together in order to be able to bypass the US dollar and do bilateral trading with one another. They're trying to come up with a currency that's alike for all of them. They're going to keep their own currencies individually for each country, but they're trying to come up with one currency where they can take their currencies and put it in there, almost like the SDR, but for the BRICS nations. And then that will completely bypass the dollar. Now, as far as how many countries have joined BRICS, I think they're up to like 10 or 11 nations right now. However, there's like 100 or plus more nations that are in line, ready to apply to join that. Now, what does that mean to us? It doesn't mean that the reserve currency of the world will stop being the dollar. What it means is that they're going to be using their own currency, bypassing the dollar, meaning that there will be less need for dollars around the world. And therefore, those dollars that are now being hoarded around the world are going to come running back to America to find value wherever they can. And the prices here are going to go up like you've never seen them go up before. This inflation that we've seen is nothing. And the inflation that we're going to see here in the next few months to a year is nothing either, ladies and gentlemen. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. It's going to take time for this to happen. But when it does, you will realize from one day to another that your life has completely changed. Now listen to this last part. It may seem a little dry, but pay attention because it's very important. Now that Egypt, Ethiopia, and Saudi Arabia already joined BRICS, they could influence over 12% of global trade. 12% is a huge number. That's because those three countries surround the Suez Canal, a key passage for goods to flow into international markets. The Economist further said that BRICS has major sway in the commodities markets. Saudi Arabia, Iran, and the UAE are among the world's top exporters of fossil fuels. Brazil, China, and Russia, meanwhile, are major exporters of precious metals. Saudi Arabia's joining could give BRICS a major advantage, they say. The Middle Eastern nation owns over $100 billion in U.S. Treasury bonds, which has helped bring BRICS total holdings in the Treasury over $1 trillion. The BRICS Plus nations do not need to wait until a shared trade currency meets the technical conditions typical of global reserve currency before they swing their newly enlarged economic wrecking ball on the dollar. What does that mean? That they don't care whether they are called a reserve currency or not. They could care less. What are they looking after? They're looking after the results of their currencies being able to do bilateral trade with one another until they come up with a currency that is common to all of the BRICS nations and those that have joined. That's what they're worried about, ladies and gentlemen, is to make sure that they can trade outside of the dollar, which will have a huge influence on what the dollar is worth, meaning on what it can buy you. I hope that this makes sense to you. How do you prepare for this, AP? Prepare for this like if you knew that everything that you use on a daily basis is going to go up in price tenfold or higher. Get it now. Stock it deep, especially those things that have a long shelf life. Toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, shoelaces, shoes, tires, serpentine belts, etc., etc., etc. All of these things that we consume on a regular basis that we know we're going to need out into the future, in my opinion, I say stock it now. So on one of my previous videos, somebody asked me this question right here. It's going to be either here or here. Pretty much, hey, listen, I'm getting ready to buy a solar generator. I'm taking a look at this one. What do you think? And I left a reply, something like, listen, just take a look at all of the specifications of the solar generator that you're looking at buying and maybe some other options. Obviously, I'm partial to Oupes because I partner with Oupes. I think they make a great solar generator at a very good price. And after taking a look at a few more of the comments, I thought I'd do this portion of the video actually showing you the comparison between the solar generator that this gentleman is thinking about buying along with an all-American made solar generator and the Oupes. That way you can get an idea of what it is that I look for when I'm shopping for a solar generator. Well, AP, you don't have to shop for a solar generator. You get them sent to you so you can review them. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, but once upon a time, I did have to shop for a solar generator, and I'm going to show you what to look for. The first thing I'm going to cover is the all-American made solar generator, and it is called the Grid Eraser. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that by now you would know, depending on how long you've been following me, that I love competition. Competition is the best thing for you, the consumer. It gives you the best product at the best price. And I am all for American-made products as long as it's providing for me or the consumer what the consumer is asking for. This is the only solar generator here that I've been able to find. If there are more, let me know. And I've decided to include the link to this solar generator's site permanently on the description of my videos under All American Made Solar Generator, so that you can look at it and compare it and decide whether it's right for you to purchase it. Now, I love that there's an American out there purchasing American parts. Even the battery is made in America, believe it or not, and building a product that is in demand. However, ladies and gentlemen, it'll have to be up to you whether you want to make the purchase or not. Let me go over the specs of this solar generator really quick with you so that you can see what it's like. This is a picture right here. Obviously, it's all made in the US. From what I understand and everything I read, every component on this solar generator is made in the US. So they offer, from what I see here, two different options. The first one is the Grid Eraser Signature, which is $2,999. It provides you with 1,748 watt hours of storable energy, and it comes inside of a steel mesh cabinet for optimal ventilation, and that's a good thing. It has 200 watt 12 volt solar panel array, so it comes with a couple of 100 watt solar panels with a 5-year warranty. Let's see what else. 1,000 watt pure sine inverter, DC to AC power. So it has a 1,000 watt inverter, meaning that it's going to provide you with 1,000 watts of continuous power. All right, so you can pretty much, as long as you have enough battery space, you'll be able to run something 1,000 watts continuous power for as long as the battery can keep up with the demand. It has a 30 amp pulse width modulator monitoring charge controller with LED indicators with a 5-year warranty. Let's see, it has a 104 to 129 amp hour, depending on availability, sealed battery, which is an AGM batteries. Now, some people say, well, AGM batteries are old school stuff. In a way they are, but there are some good things about AGM batteries, and one of those is that they can withstand very cold temperatures. So if you live in an area that gets really super cold, having an AGM battery for storing energy for whatever the reason may be, because if I remember right, talking to a solar expert, she told me that AGMs can withstand up to -60 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's a very good thing about it. One thing that's not that great about AGM batteries is that their life cycle is not as much as a LiPo 4 cycle. They have like between, I would say, 500 to 1,000 charge recharge cycles. All right, so let's see, here it says that this one is smaller and lighter steel mesh cabinet configuration. It gives you the dimensions, and that's great. So that's what you get right here for $2,900 of a component that's made 100% in America with all American parts. Now they have the Grid Eraser Maximum, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave this right here instead of going over everything again, so that you can take a print screen of this or stop the video and read everything that the Maximum offers at that price indicated. Now, ladies and gentlemen, again, I am not against American made. But I do understand one thing, and that is that most Americans are hurting. And they're hurting not because of what they've done in their lives, but because of how the government has acted upon us, sending our manufacturing overseas, making it to where almost everything that we live life with is made outside of our borders. So am I putting this company down? Absolutely not. I think they make a very good product. I just think that the price is a little too high. However, I will keep my word. I will leave the link to this site on my description of my videos on a permanent basis, right along with the other solar generators that I promote. That way people can have the option, if you have the extra money to purchase something like this, by all means support it. But you also have options to get something that you need if you don't have the extra income required. I want to get this out there before I say anything about this product here. This is the Grid Doctor 2200 solar generator system. And as you can see here, it comes with the main unit and it comes with a 200-watt solar panel for a price of $2,497. I've seen other YouTubers and ones that are my friend, that I consider my friends, that promote this product. I'm not going to be putting anyone down or anything down. I'm just going to show you the difference in specifications and the difference in prices between this product and something like an Oupes solar generator, which I believe gives you the best bang for your buck. Here are the basic specifications of the Grid Doctor 2200. It has 2048 watt-hour capacity with a LiFePO 4 battery, which is rated up to 3500 charge and discharge cycles. Not too bad. The frequency, 50 hertz, 60 hertz, pure sine wave. It means that it has what they call clean electricity, meaning that you can hook up sensitive devices to it and it's not going to hurt it because it has a good inverter. That's a good thing. We went over the life cycles, 3500, which is a good thing. It has an MPPT controller system that will allow up to 800 watts of energy coming in from solar panels. That's not bad, pretty good. And the inverter is rated for 2200 watts continuous. So this system, ladies and gentlemen, even with the solar panel, comes out to about $1.21 per watt hour. Right, so we're going to go ahead and find another system from the Oupes lineup that is very similar to this as far as the specifications go, and that also come with one 200 watt, well, it's actually a 240 watt solar panel, and we're going to compare the specifications and we're going to compare the price so that you can see for yourselves what it is that you're getting when you get one or the other. Now, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I am affiliated with Oupes. What does that mean? That means that if you make a purchase using my link and using my discount code, that I will get a small commission. Why is that? Because I think Oupes makes a great solar generator. Is it made in the US? No, it's not. And I would say that about 99.9% of all solar generators are made outside of the US. The Griddy Razor, the one that I talked about first, is the only one that I've ever seen where everything is made in the United States. However, I stand behind Oupes because it gives you the best bang for your buck, in my opinion. And they are having a promotion for Earth Day. It goes from right now, it actually started yesterday all the way through the 24th. However, if you are in the market and you want to take a look at this brand, wait until the 18th of April because they're going to have a flash sale on that day. I think this is a little bit of insider info, but they will be having a flash sale on that day where everything is going to be priced as low as it can possibly be priced. Now let's take a look without even the flash sale numbers, how much a system that's similar to the 2200 will cost if you go the Oupes way. Here we have the Oupes Mega 2, which is one of their newer models, and as you can see here, this one is pretty much identical in watt hours as the Grid Doctor, and it has 2048. Let's go ahead and match the specifications of this unit against the other. But let me first mention that you can see here that just like the other one, it has one solar panel, which is a 240 watt solar panel, and the price on it is already way better than the one that we just talked about, the Grid Doctor, and it's $1,485. And this is not even including the flash sale that they're going to have on the 18th. This is just the price that they have right now. Let's take a look at the specifications of this unit and see how it matches against the specifications of the Grid Doctor. Now, I'm not going over all of the tiny details on either of these solar generators. What I want you to do, ladies and gentlemen, is go do your own research. Do not take my word on any of this. Go look at it for yourselves. I will leave the link to all of these on a pinned comment, including this one right here, this Grid Doctor, that I totally do not agree with purchasing for the price. Here you can see that the Oupes capacity is 2048 watt hours, same thing as the Grid Doctor. The battery is the same type, a LifePo 4, that brings a life cycle of about 3,500 charge and discharge cycles. Same thing for both. And as a matter of fact, this here, the Oupes, does have a 50 and 60 hertz pure sine wave, so you can change it to one or the other. It just doesn't show it right here, but it does have that. Same thing with the UPS function, or uninterrupted power supply function, on the Oupes. The Grid Doctor also does have that, and it's at less than 20 milliseconds, which is really good. They both have a BMS, which is a battery management system. It's a system that protects your unit against like overcharge or surges in power, which is good. The output with the Oupes, you can have an output of 2,500 watts continuous, whereas with the Grid Doctor, your output is only rated for 2,200 watts. Not that big of a difference, but I would think that the Grid Doctor should be a lot more robust for the amount of money that they ask for this system as compared to the Oupes. Now let me show you something that's also above and beyond on the Oupes when you compare it to the Grid Doctor. With the Oupes Mega 2, if you're charging it from your wall outlet, you can charge it at a rate of 1,600 watts per hour, which means that it will be completely charged from 0 to 100% in a little bit over an hour, probably let's say an hour and a half or so. If you want to slow charge it, it has a function where you can actually tell it, hey, I would rather you charge it at a little bit of a slower rate, which I think is a good thing. You can change it to 800 watts. Look at the solar input. You can have solar input into this unit up to 2,100 watts, ladies and gentlemen. That means that you can charge this unit, the Mega 2, in about an hour or maybe a little over an hour, depending on how efficient the sun is shining down on your solar panels on any given day. And of course, if you have enough solar panels that equal up to 2,100 watts. So I'm not going to go over any more of the specifications. I would just hope that you do your homework before you purchase anything, especially something that's going to cost you so much money, like 2,500 bucks, when you can get pretty much the same, if not something better, for about $1,000 less. And again, wait till the 18th and you can probably save some more money off of that. And I do have a coupon code that's 5% off if you want to use it as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I really like the Oupes brand, and I always promote them whenever I can, especially when they're having a sale here or there, because they do take care of the community that takes care of them, and I think they make a good quality product at a very good price. I wish that they were made in the United States of America, but again, take a look around and see how many things around your house are made 100% in the US. Having said that, go check out the links that I've left on a pinned comment for all of these sources, in addition to Oupes Helps, where you can apply to get a free Oupes solar generator if you can't afford one, but you need one for medical conditions, number one. Number two, I will leave the link to a YouTube video from Oupes where you can enter to win one of 20 solar generators that they'll be giving away, and the winner will be announced on the 20th of April. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to their channel and leave a comment on that video saying how you would use the Oupes Exodus 600 that they're coming out with here in a week or so. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Until tomorrow when we do our news video, God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.